Welcome to Rooted Voices. I'm your host, Dawn Tree, painter, author, and award-winning journalist. Our first guest on the Rooted Voices podcast is Miss Risha Grant. And if you haven't heard of her, you're going to know a little bit more about her by the end, right? And she is a best-selling author with her latest book, Be Better Than Your BS. And she's written a previous book called That's BS. So Grant is the founder of Risha Grant, LLC, an award-winning diversity consulting and recruitment firm, a national speaker and author of That's BS, How Bias Synapse Disrupts Inclusive Cultures and the Power to Attract Diverse Markets. She created DiversityConnects.com, an online recruitment tool for companies and corporate board positions. Former and current clients include Morgan Stanley, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oklahoma, Webco, American Fidelity and Insurance Co., and others. She's a frequent commentator and guest for media outlets. The national speaker has been awarded with numerous honors, including one of 4 to watch by the Tulsa World, one of the most influential African Americans, top 10 entrepreneurs by Engage magazine, and the Tulsa's Regional Chamber's Top Inclusive Award 3 times. Grant currently sits on the board of directors for the National Federal for Just Communities, Leadership Oklahoma, and is an executive board member for the Oklahoma Center for Community and Justice. Risha has consulted with Google, Harvard University, NASA, YouTube, Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, NBA's Oklahoma City Thunder, and many more. She has also been published in Forbes, Bloomberg, Entrepreneur, Harvard Business, just to name a few, y'all. Risha is all about assessing your BS, unleashing your authenticity at work, building a safe and connected company culture with Be Better Than Your BS. So without further delay, I want to introduce you to Miss Risha Grant. All right, y'all, this is Rooted Voices, and today I have Risha Grant in the room, okay? So we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of basically, her journey.
Thank you so much for having me, first and foremost. I know we've been trying to do this for a minute, so I appreciate it, and I'm just glad to be here. I'm ready to talk.
I'm glad you're here. I really
Let's
am.
do it. Okay.
Yeah. So, basically, I want to start with the fact that you're a 2-time best-selling author, correct?
1-time best-selling author.
One time?
Yeah, 1 time.
Okay, so on your second book or your first one?
My second book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your first one?
Yeah, for sure. So the first book was independently published by
Okay.
me. So I did the whole Amazon thing, and I really wasn't trying to become a bestseller with that book. The whole goal was to use it to become an authority to other people in my field,
Okay.
which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then to be able to sell it in the back of the room. And it worked. I mean, we were amazing with that. For some reason, if you write a book, people think you know something. So even if you already know it, they think you know something. So that was a whole process behind that first book, a whole thought process.
All right. And so what inspired you to do that? Because I know you had started your LLC at the time, Risha Grant.
Yeah.
So can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so I started the LLC. I've been in business 25 years. So I think my first LLC, was the 90s, like late 90s when I started it. And it was
you don't look that,
Oh, I'm gonna be the big 5-0 next month.
Whoa.
That's a whole podcast.
You got wisdom.
Yes. But so I started that LLC because what I learned about business, and especially as it pertains to Black folks, we don't do the legal stuff. We don't take care of business. So I had an LLC probably before I needed one.
Okay. Before you went to the state and filed for an LLC.
Yes.
Okay.
I probably did not need it at the time, because you can be a solopreneur, and you don't need all of those things. But when you start thinking about money, and that's the thing, my mindset was I wanted to be a millionaire. So I started thinking about money, and even though it took a while to get there, it's important to get your LLC, and it does not cost a lot.
You were doing marketing, right? Your company was doing marketing?
Yes.
And so then what inspired you to want to go into businesses and teach this cultural bias that you do?
I started out as the first diversity communications firm in the state. And so when you grow up in Oklahoma, and I'm from a small town, Sapulpa, here in Oklahoma, and I would guess that no matter where you are in Oklahoma, you're only taught one part of history, right? So if you're Black, you hear about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, right? That's about it.
Yeah.
And so I remember we had this conversation in class about Cleopatra, and my best friend in class was like, Cleopatra was Black. So then this whole debate jumps up on whether or not she's Black, and they were saying how beautiful she was and all these things. And so I remember thinking, God, we got this one thing and we can't have that. Like, y'all really gonna fight with us about, because everybody else is like, it was slavery, it's all these things, and
yeah, all the images I've ever seen in movies, Cleopatra is pretty much white.
Yeah, but she's not. She was Egyptian, right?
Exactly.
So what inspired me was that I wanted to go out and teach my teachers and other students about what Black people contributed to the world.
Okay.
So that's how I got started.
What grade was that?
That was high school, so somewhere around 10th or 11th grade.
So you were inspired right then and there.
Yeah, but diversity came into my sphere of thinking, of knowing, and I thought, this is it. I get to marry my love of communications.
Okay.
With my love of Black history.
Mm-hmm.
As I got further into it, I realized it wasn't just Black folks that was having issues. It was Hispanic folks. It was LGBT plus folks. It was women. You know, it's all these people, and so that's what started it. I said, you know, they don't write ads for us. They don't talk to us in the right way that will help them to sell their products or services. There's a lack of respect to even learning about who we are. Mm-hmm. So that's how I came up with the diversity communications firm, and started trying to figure out how can I get Black people on TV, like for commercials, because I never seen a lot of Black commercials when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I started driving around in my car, just going to businesses in North Tulsa, figuring out how to sell them commercials, something that was affordable, that would put them on during a time where people would really see them. Because back then you had Martin, you had Cosby Show, you had you know, you had all that stuff.
More Black shows.
Yes. Fox was lining it up, right? So so I figured out a way to sell commercials at an affordable rate to get Black folks out there.
You're tuned in with your host, Dawn every first and last Saturday of every single month.
Let's go. I'm an author of a book. It's called Black Wall Street. Tulsa's Black Wall Street, Graphic Art History by Dawn Tree, a modernized revelation. I'm also a fine artist. I work abstract surrealist paintings on wood. So I use latex acrylic, aerosol, found objects, and paint on wood. And I'm also a public speaker. So I go around and I speak about my book and the creative process that it took, and primarily in youth spaces, so high schools, middle schools, and universities. I grace the stage in those environments and talk about Black Wall Street. What networks did you go through, you know, in order to do that? Did you have your own camera? Did you go up in there with your camera, or did you have a team?
Nah, it was a team. Yeah, you got to get down the road a little bit to have a team,
Right.
I
know this.
Yeah, no, I really didn't. I had some people in my life that I was really blessed to know that helped me along the journey. But so my first job was at Fox, 23 out of college, and I produced commercials for them.
Okay.
And I got laid off because they just kind of had a shortage, and I was the last one hired, least amount of experience. But my boss, he was in tears when he let me go because he knew I just signed a lease on my first apartment. So he made me a deal. Because Fox used to get a lot of calls back then to do weddings and boat shows and all these things they didn't do, and they would just turn them down. He said, I'm going to give them all to you.
Oh, wow.
He said, and he said, now if you tell anybody, and this is an older white guy, love him to this day. He said, you can come up here, borrow the equipment, I'll come up here on the weekends so you can edit it and make the commercials. Wow. He said, if they catch you with the equipment, you're on your own. I don't know nothing about this.
Right.
But he did that, and that allowed me to start my business. So at first I had those cameras, and then my mom helped me get a camera.
Okay.
And then I remember just finding people to collaborate with. Like, I didn't really feel like I was that great at editing. I didn't like it. I found this guy who was great at it, and we were able to come together and just work together. And because I was writing commercials for Fox day in, day out. I never saw any Black companies. And so I asked my boss, do y'all not going to the salespeople, not try to sell Black companies or what? He had no idea. So to me, it was a wide open market. So I had this idea that if I could get, I think it was a long time ago, 10 or 15 companies to pay $350 or $500 or something like that for the commercial, I could pull all of that money and buy the airtime and get them on during the time of the Martins and the Cosbys and 10 o'clock news. Okay. So that was the goal. So that's what I ran out and did. And you know, you just, when you're in this journey, as you know, you just keep meeting people. Right. And, you know, and so I kind of had this team of everybody that had their own businesses that were doing different things. And so we just made it work. I mean, I'm just a straight hustler. I'll go knock, I'll go through doors. I mean, at that time, it was like whatever it was, whatever it needed to be. Wow.
Man, that's an inspiring story right there, for real. Now, asking your higher, administrators or higher ups, and you're saying that they weren't even thinking about it. is that kind of when you realize, okay, maybe it's more to this in terms of now you speak and you wrote a book?
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of Black folks were coming from their jobs for this networking deal, and they were just tired, defeated, irritated, frustrated, everything. They couldn't wait to leave.
In the book.
Yes, they couldn't wait to leave, and I was like,
the networking event, they couldn't wait to leave?
They couldn't wait to leave Tulsa. Like when you would talk to them, they were like, I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to start working.
That's still here now. That spirit.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. And so I started going into companies trying to sell them on the fact that they needed to incorporate some inclusion into, like, these people were miserable. Companies could not see the value in it. So it took me a long time to reach my 7-figure goal, right? Because I spent, out of those 25 years, I probably spent 15 of those years just educating.
Okay.
Undervaluing myself in terms of pay just to get money, because I was starving. Like, there were times I couldn't pay for the meter outside the office. I had so many parking tickets, I probably was paying somebody's salary up at City of Tulsa, right?
Yes.
So it was it's been a very long
So even though you were
trajectory.
putting in, I see the mic real
Yes,
quick.
ma'am.
So even though you were putting in all that work, like sweat equity, energy, you were still like broke.
Still broke.
Yeah.
Very broke. I am blessed with a family that is so supportive. Some people don't have that, so I know how much of a blessing it is. But I was able to move home twice with my mom. My mom was always my biggest investor. Like, she believed in me from day one. Because I don't come from a lot of folks that know anything about business. I didn't come from a family that had a business. I didn't know anybody in my community. I would go into the companies and I would begin to talk to them about DEI. I had so many people here that just, they couldn't see it, right? So in the first companies I started to call were PR firms, because this is a communications firm. So I called all the PR firms in the state. Most of them didn't meet with me. I have one, and I have to talk about Steve Turnbull. I don't know if you know Steve Turnbull, but he was a white gentleman that ran Snacky Turnbull, which is like the largest PR firm in the state.
Okay. And
the oldest, one of the oldest. And so he answered the phone. No, he called me back. And I was so surprised because nobody ever called me back. And he said, "I'd love to meet with you."
Okay.
And this man, he's a true epitome of an ally. He listened to me. He was like, "Risha, I 100% agree with you." He said, "But you're in a state that is not going to see that vision." He allowed me to do a presentation to his partners, because I was so bold. I was like all of 23, 24 years old. I was so bold, I went in there and said, "You need to add a multicultural arm to your PR firm, and I need to run it." Now, I haven't really ran a business like on this level or anything. Right. But I'm like, I got this, I can do this.
But you had that confidence at that time.
I had that confidence. And he let me make the presentation. It was probably one of the worst presentations I've ever done in my life. When I think about it now, it gives me goosebumps because I was so nervous. And it's a group full of white people looking at me like, "What the hell is she talking about?"
Right.
And he's in the back like, "You got this,"
Wow.
And
he believed in you.
Yeah, he did. And all through the years, this man made sure that my business, if he had a contract that he could bring me in on, he did. If there was a board seat open, he filled it with me. I remember that's how I got on the chamber board. He was the board chair. He had to fill some board seats. He came to my book signing of my second book in August.
Okay.
I was so thankful. He had retired. He was dealing with some health issues, but they got him there. He just passed away last month. And that man was amazing. So so you have to find those people that believe in you. You got to find that support system. And then the secret to success is truly not to give up. There's no secret. You got to keep grinding. Okay. And it's a grind.
Yeah.
It's a pure grind.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hearing you right there. I've been grinding. And what I heard from that, though, is that it's not necessarily going to be, a whole bunch of people. It might just be key individuals that see you through.
Yeah. I don't think it's ever going to be a whole bunch of people.
Right. But some people think it is. Now with the media and social media and followers and all that, people literally feel like going viral is going to make them money. And sometimes it don't. Okay?
Okay, most times it don't.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for tuning in to Rooted Voices. I'm your host, Dawn Tree. Rooted Voices is a global broadcast that provides a platform for Americans that own something, be it equity in the community, a business, real estate, and even intellectual property. Moving closer to changing our communities. Outside of hosting Rooted Voices, I am exhibiting my abstract surrealist paintings, organizing youth art programs, speaking about Black Wall Street with my graphic art history book, traveling, and most important, self-caring.
Airing the first and last Saturday of each month at 11 a.m. For more information, contact Don Tree on all social media platforms at undergroundtree, or visit our website at utreep.com or by phone at 405-310-7291. Rooted Voices is an Underground Tree Studios production, heard exclusively on Urban Radio Tulsa Online.